Arissa LeBrock, the daughter of action movie legend Steven Seagal, just had a WWE debut that nobody saw coming. And when we say nobody, we mean it. The entire WWE universe is buzzing, not just because of her famous last name, but because of the incredible skill and power she showed in the ring. But what makes this moment so wild isn't just what happened on TV. It's the brutal story of how it almost never happened in the first place. Just a few years ago, a career-ending injury got her passed over by WWE, with doctors reportedly telling her she might never walk right again. She just vanished from the wrestling scene, a forgotten headline swallowed by silence. So how did she go from being completely written off to this? To get why her debut has the whole industry talking, you have to understand the grueling, hidden journey that made it possible. This isn't just a story about a celebrity's kid. This is a story about resilience, reinvention, and a comeback that was 4 years in the making. To really get the pressure on Arissa LeBrock's shoulders, you have to understand the world she was born into. She's the daughter of two absolute titans. Her father, Steven Seagal, wasn't just a movie star. He was an icon of the late 80s and early 90s. His entire brand was built on being a legitimate, terrifying martial artist. He was a real-world Aikido master, and that bled onto the screen, making every bone-snapping wrist lock feel way too real. But that was only half the story. Her mother was Kelly LeBrock, a supermodel and actress who basically defined an era with movies like Weird Science. She was an icon of beauty, glamour, and charisma who was on the cover of every magazine. So imagine being born at that intersection, the quiet, untouchable martial artist and the world-famous supermodel. The world expects a warrior from one side and a star from the other. No pressure, right? For a while, it looked like she'd follow her mother's path. Arissa built a solid career as a plus-size model, becoming a powerful voice for body positivity and even appearing on the reality show Growing Up Supermodel. She was building her own brand on her own terms. But while she was taking over the fashion world, that martial arts gene was quietly taking root. Away from the cameras, Arissa started dedicating herself to the tough, humbling world of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. This wasn't her father's Aikido. This was her thing. And it was there, on the brutally honest mats that don't care about your last name, that her fighting spirit started to emerge. Not as something she inherited, but as something she was earning for herself. That unique mix, the commanding presence of a model and the proven toughness of a BJJ fighter, made her a perfect prospect for sports entertainment. And in December 2019, the call every aspiring wrestler dreams of finally came. The WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida is a dream factory. It's a state-of-the-art facility for building superstars, but it's also a meat grinder. The tryout is a notoriously brutal process designed to push elite athletes to their breaking point. For Arissa, the pressure was insane. She wasn't just another athlete, she was a legend's daughter. In wrestling, that puts a giant target on your back. You have to work twice as hard to prove you belong. But she was ready, convinced her BJJ background gave her the edge she needed. This was her shot. And then it all fell apart. During or right after that grueling tryout, Arissa suffered a severe, catastrophic injury. While the exact details were kept private, the result was devastating. This wasn't a sprain. It was the kind of setback that brings a career to a screeching halt. Imagine that feeling. You chase this impossible dream, put yourself through the toughest test of your life, and stand on the verge of making it, only for your own body to give out. Any talk of a WWE contract just stopped. The buzz around her name vanished. Because she wasn't officially signed, there was no big announcement. In that silence, the internet did what it does best. It speculated. Whispers turned into ugly rumors that she was quietly blacklisted because she couldn't handle the grind. The reality was much more tragic. She wasn't banned, she was broken. What came next was a long, painful healing process that sent her to a dark place. In a moment of raw honesty, Arissa later admitted, "I realized that I had become comfortable in the darkest, worst place in my life." It really looked like her story was over before it even began. This journey of overcoming a brutal injury and the crazy weight of a family legacy is what makes Arissa LeBrock's story so real. It's a level of authenticity you just can't script. If you're finding this story as incredible as we are, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. It helps us keep digging deep to tell the wrestling stories that really matter. A dream deferred can either break you or forge you into something stronger. For Arissa LeBrock, her time away from the ring became a period of rebirth. Just when it seemed her wrestling story was a forgotten headline, a lifeline came from one of the most respected people in the business, Dustin Rhodes. Dustin, the man the world knew as the iconic Goldust, is now a revered coach. More importantly, he's the son of the legendary American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. If anyone on earth gets the crushing weight of a famous father's shadow, it's Dustin. He heard Arissa's story, the tryout, the injury, the silence, and saw potential that others missed. He invited her to move to Austin, Texas, and train at his acclaimed Rhodes Wrestling Academy. It wasn't just an offer. It was a second chance when she thought they were all gone. This was the call she needed. She packed her bags and threw herself completely into the craft. The Rhodes Wrestling Academy isn't like the polished WWE Performance Center. It's an old-school dojo built on sweat and respect. Here, she wasn't Steven Seagal's daughter or a model. She was just a rookie learning from a master. Under Dustin's watch, she began to rebuild herself, not just her body, but her confidence. He taught her how to blend her BJJ skills with the unique language of pro wrestling, how to be both a fighter and a showman. Dustin was blown away by her talent and her work ethic, quickly becoming her biggest advocate. In an interview, he praised her journey, saying, "She's doing a great job, but this is only the beginning for her." Then he made a bold prediction that put the wrestling world on notice. Pretty soon, the whole world's going to be talking about Arissa LeBrock. After months of hard work and starting over from scratch, the moment of truth finally came. In March 2023, Arissa LeBrock made her official in-ring debut, but it wasn't on Raw or SmackDown. It happened at a student showcase for the Rhodes Wrestling Academy, in front of a small, passionate Texas crowd. The kind of crowd that gets the sacrifice it takes to even step in that ring. This was her moment, on her terms. When she stepped through those ropes, she wasn't a failed prospect or a celebrity's kid. She was a survivor. By all accounts, her performance was powerful, dominant, and technically sharp, with a brutally efficient style pulled straight from her martial arts background. She had done it. She had blended her legitimate combat skills with pro wrestling showmanship. It was a shockingly good debut. The positive buzz rippled through the wrestling community. This wasn't just a feel-good story anymore. This was the arrival of a legitimate new talent. Dustin Rhodes' praise proved that any old rumors about her lacking passion were completely wrong. The narrative had totally flipped. It was no longer about what happened to her. It was about what she overcame. She wasn't just Steven Seagal's daughter anymore. She was a wrestler who stared down a career-ending injury and fought her way back through pure grit. And that brings us back to the shocking WWE debut that has older fans and the wrestling world buzzing. The reason the reaction was so huge is because fans weren't just watching a rookie. They were watching the end of a 4-year journey of pain, silence, and hard work. Her debut wasn't just a moment, it was a statement. She didn't use her name for a free pass. She used a second chance from a legend to rebuild herself from the ground up. Her father, Steven Seagal, has reportedly expressed immense pride, seeing her not just as his daughter, but as a legitimate fighter who earned her spot. He saw the perfect fusion of his world and her mother's, the combat credibility he lives by, blended with the star power she inherited from Kelly LeBrock. Arissa LeBrock's story proves that legacy isn't just what you're given, it's what you build. She refused to live in two massive shadows and instead forged her own identity through pure determination. The Seagal name used to mean untouchable action on a movie screen. Now, thanks to Arissa, it means unbreakable resilience in a wrestling ring. Now that you know the real story, the incredible journey of a career that almost ended before it began, we have to ask, do you think Arissa LeBrock is the next big thing in women's wrestling? Who should she face next? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.